Hi, I'm Tracie Goodman, and I'm the Agriculture, Natural Resource, and 4-H agent with McCreary County Extension. Today I just wanted to briefly talk about a service that we offer at McCreary County Extension, and that is soil testing. And soil testing in McCreary County is now free to McCreary County residents. So the best time to get a soil test done is actually in the fall. Not only does it allow you ample time to amend your soil prior to the big planting season in the spring, you will also probably get your results back a little bit faster because there is a huge influx of soil samples in the spring. So what a soil test actually measures is the amount of nutrients that are already present within your soil. So it measures phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, zinc, and it also measures your pH in your soil. And all of these things play a huge role in plant growth. And a lot of things that you plant are going to require different amounts of nutrients. So if you are trying to establish turf grass, that may require different nutrients than if you were trying to grow a vegetable garden, or if you were planting a tree, or if you have a field where livestock are grazing and you want to establish a specific type of forage. So soil testing is an invaluable tool that can be used for multiple parts of your property. Now today I'm just going to demonstrate how you collect a sample, what kind of tools that you use, the depth that you need to go to, and how to mix it and prepare it to send to us. And at that point, we do the rest of the work for you. So if you're worried about how to calculate the amount of fertilizer that you need, if you're not really familiar with the types of fertilizers that are on the market, don't worry about that part. My job as your agriculture agent is to actually take those results that the lab sends me and translate them into a recommendation for you so that you know what options you have as far as fertilizer and how much of each amendment that you need to apply to your soil for your desired plant. And I will have a more in-depth video at the end if you want to know more about this service and if you want to know more about the nutrients that are required for plant growth. For collecting a soil sample, you really don't need a lot of tools. So here I have just a regular garden trowel. You can use a shovel as well to just dig up a sample, or we have this, which is called a soil probe, and we have several of these at the extension office that you can borrow if you want to. It goes pretty far up, and when you jab it in the ground, which I will show you here in a little bit, it takes a good size core for you for your sample. Now once you collect your samples, you want to put them into preferably a clean bucket, but a plastic bucket, because if you use metal, those metals in the bucket might mix with your sample and you don't want that. So a good clean plastic bucket is the best tool for mixing your samples together. Now once you mix your sample up, you want to lay it out to dry for at least a couple of days, and then you will put it in something to bring to us. So that can be a jar, it can be a plastic bag, or we also have soil sample bags that are at the extension office, and it shows you the line to fill it up to. So we have several of these at the office if you want to bring one of those, or if you want to bring it in a bag to us, that's completely fine and we can transfer it to this bag. The main thing that I request is that you give me enough soil to put into this bag. So don't worry about bringing me too much. I mean, if you bring me a whole gallon Ziploc bag, that's fine. You may decide that you want multiple samples from that property or something. So just bring me enough so that I can put it in this bag so they can test it, because they don't like to have, 2 tablespoons of soil. They can't really do anything with that. Now also something else I wanted to mention before I actually show you how to collect the sample is where to collect the samples. So it differs depending on what you're trying to grow. If you're planting a tree, you definitely want to collect your sample around the base where your tree is going to go. If it's a new tree, if you want to collect around a tree that you already have established, you want to collect under that tree. Versus if you are just taking a sample to grow turf grass, you're going to want to avoid the drip line of trees. So it all depends on what you are trying to grow, and you can always call me at the extension office and I can tell you where it is best to take a sample at. But general rule is that you want to take it randomly within your area. So if you're doing, say, 1,000 square foot garden, you're going to want to take those samples in all different spots throughout that garden, because you are going to want to utilize that entire garden space to grow your vegetables in. Now, if you are also planting something like strawberries in the same garden, you may want to take a different sample that is representative of the area where you're going to be planting strawberries. So vegetables, it doesn't so much matter. You can do a general soil sample for those, but if you're planting any type of fruit or say blueberry bushes, those nutrient requirements differ a little bit from vegetables, so you may want to take separate ones for that. Now for say a field, if you have a really large field, you may end up having to take up to 30 samples. And if you're growing the same thing in the same field, you may not need to take that many samples, but you're going to want it to represent the field as a whole. Also, I would advise you to avoid places like, say, right around your driveway, in really compacted areas where you're not really trying to grow anything, and areas where fertilizer and lime have been dumped in the past. And I will have this in a little more detail in the video that I link at the end. Okay, so I will move on to my tiny little yard and show you how to dig a sample and what part of the sample that you actually need to place in your bucket. Okay, so don't judge my yard. I know it looks awful. I have a very tiny patch of grass on my property because I live in the woods, but we're going to pretend that this is your lawn that you want a representative sample from. So if you are taking a sample from a lawn, I would do about 3 to 4 inches down. And for this, we are going to use the soil probe that I showed you. And you'll stick the end of it in there, push down, pull back up, and then you got your little core right there. So this size sample should be about all you need for turf grass. So we're going to dump that into our bucket. If you're using one of these, it's best to have you a stick to knock it out of there. Okay, so there's our first little core. So for a lawn, you just want to take it random places where your grass is growing, and once you're done, mix all of this up together so that all of your samples thoroughly mixed. Lay it out to dry, and then you're ready to bring it to us. Now for areas like gardens or places that are tilled, you're going to want to go down a little bit deeper than that. So 6 to 8 inches, I would say probably go to about right there. So however deep your tiller goes, or your tilling operation goes, you're going to want to dig down that deep. Now if you're using a spade, same principle. My soil is a little rocky, so it took a little bit, but I've got me a clump right here. You're going to want to take about 3 inches, maybe in the middle of this clump. There's a big rock, that's lovely. Pitch it in there, and then you'll mix it all together the same as you would from your sample out of your soil probe. So it doesn't matter how you do it. You can use any tool that you want to dig up dirt. Just make sure you get a good representative sample. That's what we really care about. Okay, I will have an extra video linked at the end if you want to check it out, and then I will also have some resources that you can refer to before you collect a soil sample. And as always, you can contact me anytime that you need to, and I will be glad to give you some more information about this. Thanks for watching.